Tanse, I'm Kristanachkate. Welcome to APTN National News. Thank you for joining us. Prime Minister Mark Carney's meeting with chiefs across Canada began this morning. It was to talk about the One Canadian Economy Act, or Bill C-5, with chiefs from across the country. Bill C-5 is supposed to make the process to approve economic development projects in the national interest quicker. The Prime Minister kept his opening remarks fairly short, saying it was a great honor and pleasure to open the summit. Yesterday, chiefs expressed concerns about the speed at which C-5 had been passed and how fast this meeting was set up. Assembly of First Nations National Chief Cindy Woodhouse-Neepanak also said that she hopes that Carney brings forward new infrastructure plans for First Nations. Carney says the Bill C-5 legislation is needed to counter economic threats from U.S. President Donald Trump and insisted today's meeting was just the first step in a process, something he talked about during a very brief press conference beforehand.
Today we'll be talking about building in partnership with First Nations, in some cases in partnership, in some cases with projects led by First Nations. Today is about the how, not the what. We're not yet at the what stage. We're not yet at the what stage of which projects and how exactly the conditions associated with those projects.
And you can read more about the meeting between the chiefs and the Prime Minister by going to our website at aptnnews.ca, including a new story by Karen Pugliese of chiefs telling Canada that today's summit should not be considered consultation. Chiefs from Manitoba also held a press conference in Ottawa one day before the meeting with Prime Minister Mark Carney. The Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs held their press conference on Wednesday afternoon near the Museum of History. AMC Grand Chief Kyra Wilson said they stand united in the conversations that are so important when it comes to their lands and resources as First Nations, and that Thursday's meeting is seen as a first meeting of many between chiefs and the Prime Minister. Their key message to Prime Minister Mark Carney is consultation, consent, and involvement when it comes to future major projects. Chief Derek Neepanak also said a message for all levels of government, adding that First Nations in Manitoba retain title to the land.
Why do we have to rely on the Crown's designate, the federal or provincial government, to tell us what to do in our territory? It's backwards right now. And that's the big message that we need to bring to everybody that wants to come here from around the world and work the resources, whether that be in the land or in the water. You've got to come to us first because we have unceded title.
Meanwhile, 9 First Nation communities in Ontario are banding together to launch a constitutional challenge aimed at Ontario's Bill 5 and Canada's Bill C-5. The announcement was made at Queen's Park in Toronto today, where chiefs spoke to reporters about the impacts of these bills. They say both pieces of legislation threaten First Nations' rights to self-determination, as well as the environment and fundamental human freedoms.
We are interested in development that is done the right way. The right way means protecting and conserving the environment, lands, waters, and species. The right way also means full participation in decision-making of First Nations who have the rights on our lands.
We have a sacred responsibility to this land. We ask that we be allowed to honor that sacred responsibility given to us by the Creator. Many of us pray, and we pray for you as well, so that you can live on this land. Because I'm telling you, when the water's gone and when everything's poisoned, what are we going to have?
Earlier this year, 2 elected Matei Nation Saskatchewan officials were blocked from attending their swearing-in ceremony after a harassment dispute between them and Richard Quintal, the CEO of the organization. Now the 2 regional representatives say they've been offered a make-up ceremony. APTN video journalist Rachel May brings us the update.
This year began with a harassment dispute between Richard Quintal and 4 elected Provincial Métis Council PMC members, who Quintal accused of harassment. 2 of them, Sherry McLennan and Wendy Gervais, were re-elected Métis Nation Saskatchewan regional directors on June 24th. But they were not allowed to attend the MNS swearing-in ceremony or PMC meetings unless they apologized publicly to Quintal. In a joint statement issued on Tuesday night, McLennan and Gervais say they've now been offered a follow-up swearing-in ceremony by MNS President Glenn McCallum. There's no word yet on when it will take place or whether this means they'll be allowed back into PMC meetings. In a written statement, McLennan and Gervais said, "We know a lot of people have a lot of questions. We do too. Fighting for the voices of our citizens continues to be on our top priorities." They say they'll keep the public updated and plan to attend the upcoming Back to Batoche Festival, held at the Batoche National Historic Site this weekend. Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
Leaders of the Beardies and Okamasis Cree Nation in Saskatchewan is sending a warning to residents involved in drugs and illegal activity. A letter was issued on July 14th addressed to what is referred to as occupants of homes of interest. The letter states that drug sales and trafficking, gang-related activity, as well as other illegal activity is happening at certain homes in the community. Leadership is warning if the activity continues, the names of the people in the homes of interest will be made public and that law enforcement and housing authorities will take further action. It says a meeting with the heads of the households will be held on August 1st with a follow-up meeting to ensure compliance 2 weeks later. Leadership says it will support people struggling but will not tolerate the illegal activity putting the community at risk. Ontario's Special Investigations Unit has cleared a Thunder Bay police officer of any wrongdoing in the 2023 death of 21-year-old Jenna Osberg, who is from the Bearskin Lake First Nation. However, they did say that the officer failed in his duty of care by not attending the home even after a call for service was cancelled. As police knew, Osberg's male ex-partner was previously arrested for domestic assault with a weapon against her with a no-contact order in place. According to the SIU, on December 30th of 2023 at around 2:05 a.m., a 911 call was made to report that Osberg was an unwanted person in a home where her ex-partner lived and that they needed police assistance. 18 minutes later, a second 911 call was made asking to cancel the initial call of service and that the caller believed Osberg left the home. More than 8 hours later, Osberg was found in a bedroom closet in that same home and paramedics were called. However, Osberg was pronounced dead. The SIU says they believe Osberg died by suicide at around 2:42 a.m. as her cell phone activity stopped around that time. The Thunder Bay Police Service says it will now begin a required administrative review to look at all aspects that relate to that incident. Osberg's family has raised concerns with the Thunder Bay Police investigation and filed a complaint with Ontario's Inspector General of Policing. The family of Jenna Osberg are not speaking at this time on the SIU decision. People of all backgrounds have come together for a 10-day canoe trip in Ontario to learn more about the First Nation people of the area. That story when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back to Ontario now, where a group of canoers will spend 10 days on the Grand River for the 10th year, where plenty of paddlers have embarked on that journey, which is dubbed Two-Row on the Grand. It marks a decade of deeper understanding on Indigenous culture in a unique way. CTV's Spencer Turcott has that story.
The crowd cheers as co-founder of Two-Row on the Grand, Ellie Joseph, marks the start of this year's paddle.
We are paddling the Grand River to remind folks that, yes, this does belong to us.
The idea was brought to Ontario after taking part in a similar trek along the Hudson River in 2013. Both journeys inspired by the Two-Row Wampum.
It's an over 400-year-old treaty, and people really don't know what it is, but we deserve to teach and we need people to learn about this treaty.
It symbolizes a foundational principle of peaceful coexistence and mutual respect based on parallel paths. So the group will paddle in 2 rows when possible to embody the concept.
167 people registered. Non-Indigenous people develop a deeper understanding of what actually has happened, how deeply the trauma goes.
And Indigenous people learn more about their own culture.
I always say that the Grand River is a classroom, really, because that's where we're learning.
A first-time paddler, Margie Morehouse, won't do the entire 10-day trek from Cambridge to Port Maitland, so she hopes to soak in as much as she can in the first 5 days.
Being a part of an opportunity to have all nations together really moved my heart.
Paddlers from all strokes of life pushed their canoes and hopped into the water.
It's warm.
All prepared for the physical challenges of the journey too, like the heat.
Well, I was hoping to even things out a little bit.
And the bugs.
The story is that it's to help with flies, dragonflies and whatever, but it does nothing for mosquitoes. Not a damn thing.
With everyone in the water, they're off.
We always find that everyone walks away with a real immense understanding of the 6 nations of the Grand River people.
Rowing together with the current to find that peace and prevent any rocking of the boat in more ways than one. Spencer Turcott, CTV News, Cambridge.
The annual All Nations Childcare Gathering Conference in Sudbury, Ontario kicked off on Wednesday. As CTV's Madison Merrier tells us, the focus this year is on Indigenous language and culture.
The room was full of laughter and smiling faces as early childhood educators gathered for their yearly conference.
Initially, it was Indigenous early years educators, but we've branched out to all educators working with Indigenous families. And each year is a different theme, but this year is nurturing our children and fostering language revitalization. So our focus this year is all about language.
What I'm going to do is this. It's easy for me to do. I want you to show your teeth if you got them. Say, look at the honey. So you just said hello, beaver.
These activities bring out the kid in the educators and aim to inspire a more artistic approach to their future lesson plans.
In the sector of early learning, it's very hands-on, experiential. So including our craftspeople and our artisans is a big part of early learning. It has to be that whole experience of how we see, feel, think, and experience the whole learning journey. So having artisans here makes perfect sense.
The most important things is also to combine language, culture, play, and inquiry. So those are foundational. Actually, like play and play, curiosity, and inquiry are actually embedded into Anishinaabe worldviews about how it is that we raise our children.
The All Nations Childcare Gathering program was designed to reinforce the importance of early childhood educators and to celebrate Indigenous culture for developing children to grow up proud.
That's the role of early learning educators, and we need to celebrate our ECEs, we need to lift them up, and we need to recognize them, and they are so critical in all of our communities in Ontario.
Madison Merrier, CTV News, Sudbury.
An entrepreneur from British Columbia has just launched her own food truck. And as APTN's Tina House reports, for her, food is medicine and made with lots of love.
Take a look at that, nice and soft, just like marshmallows. Come get some.
Ruby Harry not only runs a catering company called 4 Directions Catering, but she has recently launched her own food truck called Medicine Wheels. And for her, it's a dream come true.
I am so proud, so happy, and I am beaming from the inside out. My spirit is happy.
It all started one night when she was scrolling through Marketplace on Facebook when she says she came across this abandoned old food truck for sale. She said she looked past the chipped paint and old interior and saw potential. She worked hard, saved the money, and sold a lot of bannock to eventually rebuild the entire engine, put in a new kitchen with top-of-the-line appliances. She also taught herself how to get through the permitting process.
I got this business off the ground by long, hard hours and lots of money, but we got it done. It's a 1988 Brewmaster, and she's spotless. She's brand new, and she's ready to go. She's ready to feed anybody, anywhere.
And her big baby food truck, which she affectionately calls it, has already hit the road from Mount Currie to Bowen Island to Kamloops. Medicine Wheel's food truck serves everything from homemade slow-cooked brisket poutine, wild salmon and fries, to her signature berry picker's dessert bannock, Indian tacos with fresh-made bison chili, to halibut. Everything on her menu is what Ruby says, made with love, and her customers feel the same way.
Absolutely awesome. I had just had Elder Lois over here just shared some of her lunch with me, and it was fantastic.
And for Ruby, her food is medicine. And giving back to the community is a big part of what she does, by training the next generation and donating meals that feed hundreds of people at various events. Just recently, she received the King Charles III Coronation Medal, which recognizes individuals who have made a significant contribution to communities in Canada.
I want to say thank you to everybody who helped me get here, that we did it and we're going to keep going. Thank you. And this is what you call a bannock surgeon.
Tina House, APTN National News, Vancouver.
We now want to tell you about this week's third web poll question. Over on our website, we ask, have you ever been denied boarding a domestic flight despite valid identification? This is regarding our previous story about a First Nation passenger being denied a flight after he used his status card for identification. Your answers are yes or no. Go to our website at aptnnews.ca/polls to have your say. We'll have more news from our partners at National Indigenous Television. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Charlottetown 25, Halifax sunny and 19. The Grand River 18, Anujiwak 5 in rain. Quebec City 17 in rain, Montreal 27 in rain. Ottawa 27 and sunny, Peterborough rain there and 25. Partly cloudy in Wawa at 16, Elliott Lake 12. Churchill 15 and partly cloudy, Smoky and Thompson at 18. Gimli 20 and sun there, Princess Harbour sunny and 20. 14 in Regina, Saskatoon 18. La Ronge smoky and 16, Buffalo Narrows 16 and sun. Showers in Peace River at 28, rain in Fort McMurray at 27. Lethbridge 20, Medicine Hat 27. 31 in Kamloops, Quesnel 27 in rain. Prince Rupert 19 in showers, Smithers 27. 24 in Watson Lake, Beaver Creek partly cloudy at 24. 28 in Fort Simpson, Norman Wells 22 in showers there. Tuktoyaktuk 16, Pawatuck 5. 11 in Chesterfield and sunny there, Whale Cove 16. And Clyde River +7, Iqaluit +8. Now to a story in Australia. First Nations women have been celebrated at Australia's most prestigious art prize for women. The annual Ravenswood Women's Australian Art Prize recognizes female artists from across the country. NITV's Masila Silalanga reports.
A collection of the country's best artworks, competing for Australia's richest art prize for women. The Ravenswood Australian Women's Art Prize was created to support female artists across the country.
It's really important to celebrate and recognise female artists for their professionalism and their hard work, and to also have this opportunity to gather work from all around Australia, put it together as one show to celebrate Australian women artists.
With the number of entries growing each year, Indigenous artists made up 20% of this year's finalists.
It just gives people from even remote areas an opportunity to have their artwork shown and recognised and potentially sold. So it's a really lovely opportunity for Indigenous artists.
The winner of the Indigenous Emerging Artists category is Bidinjara artist Fiona Pompey. Her prized artwork, Talingora, means sand country. She drew inspiration from her childhood growing up on the APY lands.
I was just overwhelmed with how beautiful this artwork was. Close up, you can see patterns in the background and veils of colour, and then when you step back, it's something altogether different. So you get this incredible immersive experience.
An art prize showcasing female storytellers from the world's oldest living culture.
I've been coming here.
Marcella Sinalanga, NITV News.
Staying in Australia, a new exhibition exploring identity and cultural resilience in NAR Melbourne is showcasing the work of several First Nations artists. Titled The Veil, the show features works ranging from printmaking and weaving to photography and film. NITV's Dan Rennie reports.
A stunning installation, provoking thoughts of connection to country and the climate. Gunditjmara and Torres Strait Islander woman Lisa Waup's piece Holding Country is made of 365 individually screen-printed sandbags.
For me, the bags represent mother. So, it's talking about country, it's talking about connecting to country and caring for her and for her to be able to care for us.
The bags serve as repositories of memories from a major flood Lisa experienced in northern Victoria.
I was with my children and their father many years ago now at a cousin that lives in Yorta Yorta country, and they had these impending floods. So it was something that we actively helped sandbag their property to protect it.
Holding Country is one of several artworks on show at a new exhibition called The Veil. Held at the Buxton Contemporary at the University of Melbourne, the show sees its artists delve into themes of identity, memory and the spiritual.
Throughout time, people have found ways to describe those in-between spaces that exist between life and death. The artists in the exhibition speak to that veil between worlds.
A key work in the exhibition is a film called Eternity, the Butterfly.
It's a brief moment between the protagonist where she starts a journey to call to her ancestors, to invite them into her space and summon them to receive guidance and wisdom.
Its creator, Hayley Miller-Baker, says her Indigenous identity and lived experiences are key to her work.
I grew up listening to my mum and my nan and my aunties give stories of warnings and dangers to keep me and my cousins safe.
The Veil will run until November. Dan Rennie, NITV News.
And that's your daytime newscast for this Thursday. Dennis Ward is back for your evening newscast in a few hours, including an all-new segment of Truth in Politics to talk about this week's meetings between chiefs and the Prime Minister. From our HQ in Winnipeg, hi miigwech, masicho. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next day.